Anything I say will be held against her.
Yeah, some up there. I wonder why we're blind.
It went to sleep. I don't know why, but that sucker went to sleep.
God's good. And all the time. Amen, my friends. A few announcements for you. As you can see on the screen behind you, or follow along in your programs as well. First of all, there's a ladies' school insert here. I'd say take a look at that. If you're interested, this is for opportunities for those of us who may feel a calling into serving somehow publicly in worship, or even in some regards, people filling in churches like Great Intervening does. So if you're interested, check this out. It's inside your inserts. You can see I'm one of the folks who's on that team that helps, at least human-wise, make this thing happen. So check that out. Also, if you're a guest here today, we'd love for you to fill out one of our guest cards. You can find those in the pew racks right in front of you, next to the hymnals and the Bibles there. On the other side of our guest cards are our prayer cards. Drop those cards off in the offering plate, which is right back there where Dale was handing out programs this morning. There's youth group tonight at 6:30 p.m. Yes, Tina and I survived last week's Tex-Mex attack with the Nerf guns being fired at us, but I didn't do as well as normal. Let's just not even talk about the waltz I may have. We'll move on from that. Nobody needs to hear me whining. Next up, cleaning buckets, and especially as we know the flooding that has hit locally for us, as well as the chaos that will ensue in North Carolina, let alone in Puerto Rico where they are still cleaning up, let alone in so many other places around the world. There's a desperate need for cleaning buckets. They used to call them flood buckets, and the buckets downstairs in orange Home Depot buckets are where we are collecting those items. It's a great way to have a hands-on way to help someone in desperate need. And I've shared before, and I'll share it again, when I was serving in the Clymer area previously, Du Bois was hit by a flood, and FEMA thought it wasn't a big enough flood for them to help. But the waters in at least one person's house went all the way up to the ceiling of their basement and halfway up the walls of their first floor in their home. Mold was growing there as we were cleaning it out and ripping out drywall and shoveling in the basement. FEMA said, no, we're not going to help. So many other people didn't show up. But cleaning buckets were there, Methodists were there. It was a beautiful witness to folks. So, if you're interested, grab all those buckets. There's an ingredients kit, for lack of a better term, downstairs as well. The witness team has their Christmas ornament sale going on in between services today. That'll be downstairs. They have some great ornaments and other items from Wendell August Forge. Check that out in between services. Also, there will be some other folks here for us to talk to as well in between services, but we'll get to that in a moment. Meanwhile, we have for our growth groups, our Cellphone, we have more books downstairs. If you're looking for one, we look for a $5 donation. Here we have an incredibly professionally done, all right, I'm stretching the truth here a little bit. Here's a commercial for our growth groups, laying all the technical disabilities and problems on one person. I don't want to name names, but it's me.
Mr. Captain Brian Keller, one aboard flight 728 en route to eternity. The weather's sunny and a perfect 72 degrees. Debbie will be your flight attendant. We hope that you enjoy the flight. Shh.
It's a bunch of ladies, and we get together, and we help each other, we support each other, and it's just great for us to learn and grow up. Really involved in this chapter. It's called Transformed by Truth. Is the chapter, but the book is What on Earth Am I Here For? How do you? I mean, it's really helping you with spiritual maturity and answers questions about your purpose, your own life. So I would highly recommend it. Thank you for your time. Sure.
Oops, that thing stopped early. Blame me. The video worked well before. Who knows what happened? Either way, they go on to share about their growth groups. Check out the church's YouTube page, which the link will soon be on our Facebook page, to see the full 4-minute video. I'm so sorry for those who we didn't get to hear this morning. We'll check in between services for Kristen. We'll fix that sucker. As well as for Rochelle, as well as for Denise, as well as for Carrie, as well as for our flight attendant Debbie for our Tuesday night growth group. Beautiful stuff, as you can see in the video. Hopefully I have that sucker ready for next week for you. So again, technical difficulties. I don't want to name names, but it was me. Moving on. Good Sunday school is again carrying on between services, 10:10. This morning we have both our younger kids as well as our 3rd through 7th graders down the hallway here in those 2 rooms. Great teachers in both classrooms. Also, Marvelous Mondays has started up, and we've had 29 kids 2 weeks in a row. Be praying for us, and if God's put on your heart to be involved in this way to serve, make sure you talk to Sandra Rogers and sign up downstairs and whatnot. We'd love to have you. Meanwhile, Kids Christmas Cantata, do we call it Cantata? Kids Christmas program? Yeah, it's tonight, 6 p.m. practice here at the church. Meanwhile, our cantata practice is Wednesday nights here at the church at 7 p.m. following praise team and right before choir practice. So again, that's Wednesday night for the adults, 6 p.m. Christmas practice here for the kids tonight. Want to make sure we also notice that Bryce Michael O'Hara was born to Jeremy and Megan O'Hara. They go to the 11 o'clock service. They go to church on Sunday, and I think Bryce was born, what day was that? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I can't do the math. It's way too early. So we'll move on. But suffice to say, beautiful things here. Friends, we want to make sure we welcome some folks here. The Klingforths, who are straight from Kenya, just to see you. That's a stretch. But there's some great things to share about as our missions team, which means this church, financially as well as prayerfully supports them. So, Travis, Lydia, and gentlemen, come on up.
Good morning. My name is Travis. This is my wife Lydia, and these are our sons Meshach and Silas.
Now, can you guys take it away?
Good. We're excited to be here. We work in Kenya, in the city of Nakuru, with navigators involved with discipleship among the urban poor, especially with teenage boys and young families, mentoring men and women in marriages, and also Lydia working with women who are expecting babies. So it was exciting to welcome a new baby into the congregation here this week.
And we are so grateful for this church. Our connection to Mercer is through the Harper family, because Beth and I went to college together, and she could not stop talking about Western Pennsylvania. And she said, I come from wonderful people. You've got to come meet my people. They're wonderful people. And she told me stories about how she had spent 2 years in Eastern Europe and how this congregation had rallied with her and made that trip to Eastern Europe possible and her service there. And it has been wonderful to have you all as one of our home bases, to have you as part of our family. We're originally from California, and this summer we're on a long road trip across the country, and you guys are officially as far east as we're going to go. But it is such a joy to be connected to this church. We are so grateful not only for your financial support for our work in Kenya, but also for your friendship. We pray for this church as well, and we're really proud of you. We're really proud of your hearts to serve practically. Flood buckets are a very tangible expression of that. And we're also really proud of your desire to continue to grow in sharing your faith. All of us need more training and skills in that. And as we gather together and pray together for people who we love, who are not believers, whether it's our friends in Kenya who are either nominally Christian or Muslim, and in any case are not saved, or your friends next door in Pennsylvania. People need Jesus. And he has put us next door to each. He's put you guys and he's put us next door to people who he wants to reach, and we have the opportunity to be friends to people. So we're really proud of Mercer UMC, and we're really grateful for your friendship.
We look forward to Pastor Brian's message this morning. And to quote our friend Josh Husband, the secret to sharing your faith is barbecue first. Just starting with relationships is the way the gospel goes. Thank you.
Travis, when you say barbecue first, Travis, Lydia, Silas, and Meshach, thank you. Friends, let's greet one another with the love of Christ. Take from Psalm 119. My lips overflow with praise for you, Lord. Help me, Lord, for I have chosen your precepts.
I long for your salvation and law, O Lord.
I praise you as you sought out this once lost sheep.
Let's praise the good shepherd who finds the sheep.
Amen. So friends, let's sing together as we worship.
Close to your side, so
6th grade. And under. Come on up there, gentlemen and lady. Grab a seat, guys. Oh, wow, even reading material. Awesome. I know the feel. All right. Got a story from you. Oh, stinks. Sorry. Left my Bible in my office. So, it's from Luke chapter 15. So let me find it in here quickly. Luke 15, verses 8 through 10. This is Jesus' words. You ready? You set? All right, here we go. Or, what woman, having 10 silver coins, if she loses one of them, does not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? We're going to stop there for a second because I've lost some stuff. I lost some silver coins and a couple gold ones. Shh. I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are. So you're a very good helper. You're a very good helper. So here's what you're going to do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Eyes up here. You don't know what the rules are. Ready? There we go. Now everybody, I need your help to find the coins. You get to keep them, but everybody here needs to have at least one coin. Okay? So if you grab 4 and somebody else doesn't have one, guess what you get to do? Give one to somebody who doesn't have it. All right, gentlemen, ladies, does this make sense? You have all of 2.5 seconds to find them all. I'm joking. It's not that bad. All right? So, help me find my coins. On your mark, get set, go. Just don't run each other over. Good job. You got it. On your rock. You already you keep that. Good job. Here, I'll put this one back. Everybody have one? Yeah. Good job. I don't know where these things are coming from. I know I'm seemingly losing them. My pockets must be very bad. Do not kill each other. What's the Bible say? The love of money causes all sorts of evil or death. You found a penny? Who gets excited about a penny? Rally or something else. I think that's it. Now, guys, I put out at least 20 coins. So everybody grab your seat. Everybody have a coin? Everybody has a quarter at least? All right. You got a gold dollar. You got a nice shiny quarter. Good. Not all of them are shiny. Awesome. Whoa, you got a dollar as well. Adam, Aaron, you guys are the dollar boys. Nicely done. You got a dollar. How much cash did I put out there? I may need donations in the middle of the service, but we'll move on because it's never good for a pastor to say that way. So don't forgive me. You got 5? I need them for Easter egg hunts. Just saying. All right. That's impressive. Then you guys have that. But we need to carry on because what else does the Bible say? Because this widow, she is poor. That's our guess. She lost 1/10 of all the money she has in the world. So if you had a dollar bill, she lost a dime. Not such a big deal. Except for that amount of money, we're talking about hundreds of dollars. I get frustrated when I lose my cell phone, let alone $100. So moving on. So when she has found that coin, she calls together all her friends. You know what she said? No big deal. No, not it at all. What's the Bible say? She rejoiced. It's as though she was jumping up and down. So here's what I need you to do. We're going to actually rejoice. Hold up your coins. Hold them up. Stand up and hold them up. All right, now, we're just going to make sure the adults here know that you're excited that you found my coins, but we'll pretend like they're yours and you found them. Ready? On 3, we're going to just yell yes or yay or who knows what. Hallelujah or I'm rejoicing or yippee. Whatever works for you, all right? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Great job. Grab a seat. You guys did incredible. Because that's about what she did when she found that money. And then finally, just so I tell you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents, the word of the Lord. Or, for our language, it would be one person who doesn't know Jesus says yes to Jesus. You know what they do up in heaven? You know what God does up in heaven when one person says yes to Jesus? You guys already did it. With your coins in your hand. That's what they do in heaven. When you say yes to Jesus, in heaven they threw a party. You're that important. They threw a party because you said yes to Jesus. You haven't said yes to Jesus yet. Think about it, because God loves you so much that he sent his son to die for you. God loves you that much. Let's pray. Father, thank you that there's rejoicing in heaven. What a gift. Help us have the same kind of attitude here. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so here we go. I brought up some things upstairs here that when I see them, I rejoice. Maybe not so much like orders, but I did bring up some leftover apples from last week. Who doesn't like leftover apples? I do, but I'm weird. And I also have my favorite kind of candy bars. Where are you at? Okay, so we have here Snickers almonds, which are the best, so don't eat them. Or peanut butter. We've got the Snickers Crunch right there, and then I've got the regular Snickers right here, okay? Now I'm going to just ask you this. Don't eat them during church, okay? Unless your parents say, or your grandparents, or your guardians say it's okay. Otherwise, wait till after, all right? But Snickers. You know what? Let's clean this up a bit. More apples. On your mark, get set. Nice early fashion. That almost didn't happen. Whoa, come on, nerd. Good. They're good. Not as good as the almond ones. Good. Is it sticky? Weird. Oh, no, these will be fine sizes. Yeah, we're going to do the what happened. What do you like about it? Close. You got apples. Is that good for you? That's the best thing I've ever had. So, friends, as our children are counting their coins or their treasure or their, what do they call them? Yeah, arts stuff. Instead, let's continue to worship as we sing together. Let's stand as we sing and worship. Olivia, it's great to have you here. You already know why I say that. Get mom in line. We'll move on.
Fabulous to meet you.
It's great to have you, Olivia. Friends, is there anything else you want to thank God for? Praise God for who God is. Anything we need to be praying for? Martha.
Gina Vanderbeek is going to be having cataract surgery here in 2 weeks. She has to have another couple of tests beforehand, so please keep Gina in your prayers.
Okay. So as Gina faces cataract surgery in 2 weeks, lifting up and praying for Gina Vanderbeek. Both of the tests that go on as well as the cataract surgery. Thanks, Marla. Kristen.
Just continue prayers for my brother-in-law, Mike, in Chicago. He's going to be having that colon surgery with the colostomy.
Yeah.
That'll be, I think, the first week of October. Something like that, but just continue prayers for that. And then for all the families in North Carolina, my sister weathered it out, but the homes literally within two blocks of her house have been completely flooded out. So.
Wow.
And they're still being flooded. I mean, it's going back into the Cape Fear and then re-flooding other areas that have kind of went down. So it's at least she showed us pictures yesterday and it's devastating.
So thanks be to God, sister's safe, house is safe, but neighbors wiped out. Yeah. Terrible thing in life. So you lifting up both families in North Carolina as well as also Kristen's brother-in-law Mike as he faces colon surgery, specifically life after that with a colostomy bag, which for some folks is a terrible ordeal. Thanks, Kristen. Friends, is there anything else we have to be praying for? I want to thank God. Praise God for who God is. Elaine.
My son is having some health problems, and they haven't exactly defined what the problem is. So
His name's Mark, right, Elaine?
His name is Mike.
Mike, close, but yeah, not good enough for him or you, but all right, so let's be praying for Elaine's son, Mike. But the health problems are still trying to determine what they are. Thanks, Mike. Friends, is there anything else we got to be praying for? You want to thank God for? Praise God for who God is. Glenda.
Thanks for our missionaries, and they're coming to visit us today and traveling mercies with them. They continue along.
But they're only going west now. Or south. Or north. They're running across the border. No more east. We won't tell anybody out east you don't like them. I'm joking. I'm grieving. What a gift it is to have the Klingforth here. Friends, is there anything else you want to thank God for? Praise God for who God is. Anything we need to be praying for. One thing is I ask for you to continue to pray for my mother-in-law, Carol, as she battles through stage 4 lung cancer. The gift this weekend is that Yvonne, Tina's sister who lives in Florida, is up here by herself. So she spent a lot of the weekend with Carol, which has been great. Most likely what will happen Monday, whenever Yvonne flies out, is when Carol will then crash because the energy she's expended with Yvonne around. But then too, on a different, and then praying for the family and whatnot, as this has been 2 to 3 months of a woman who would sleep 5 or 6 hours a day and work 50, 60, 80 hours in a week. Now she sleeps 20 hours a day and is bedbound. Life has completely changed in a few years. But I also asked to be praying for my friend Tim Becker's family. Tim I met in seminary. He would be about a decade younger than I am, and Tim passed away from an illness that's still undisclosed. So some 30-some-year-old, 3 kids, who was in ministry. I don't know all the details, and probably never will know, but I should be praying for the Becker family as well. Friends, let's go to the Lord together in prayer. There's rejoicing in heaven. Father, how are we worthy? We give you thanks that you look at us with that kind of love and care. As we look at the world around us and see the pain and devastation at times, I'm left wondering, why would you even care about us? Why would you treat us as in the days of Noah and wipe this place out, and yet you continue to show your love and your care? So much so that if one person says yes to Jesus, there's rejoicing in heaven. How does that work? It doesn't seem to make sense. Don't you have better things to do? Oh, but there is no better thing to do. We thank you so much for your incredible love for us, that you find us that valuable and worthy, that the moment someone says yes to Jesus, everything drops, that celebration occurs. What an incredible gift, what incredible joy. Father, we thank you so much for your surpassing love for us. It doesn't seem to make sense to my self-centered mind, but I thank you for your incredible love. Change my heart, change our hearts, that we see how important it is for people to know your Son, Jesus Christ. Race, other thoughts, political opinions, those things really don't matter in comparison to eternity. We give you thanks that you show us just how important it is that everything is dropped, rejoicing occurs. One person says yes to Jesus. Thank you for your incredible love for us. And so we come before you, begging for your movement in the lives of people that we care about, that you move and work, Father. We live before you, Tim Becker's family, in the midst of his dying from this mystery illness at this point. We're praying for Caroline and the 3 kids, his whole family. Walk through these days of the valley of the shadow of death. It's in Jesus' name we pray. We live before you, Carol, my mother-in-law. We pray for healing for her, whether here on earth or eternal. We're asking, Father, that you give strength to the family, and it's in Jesus' name we pray. Father, we ask that you would be with Jack and Betty, experiencing another loss that none of us wants to undergo. We're praying for your spirit of comfort and peace. Bring about healing. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Father, we ask that you would, Gina, in the midst of cataract surgery to come, the testing to come. We're praying for your hand to be with her and protecting her. It's in Jesus' name we pray. We look before you, Kristen's brother-in-law, Mike. We pray for Mike in the midst of facing colon surgery. Not only that, but colostomy. We pray for your healing touch, your protection, Father. In Jesus' name. Let alone those who have been affected by the flooding in North Carolina and the surrounding areas. We're asking, Father, for your hand to provide. Provide for us, for those of us as you move in our hearts and bring about a cleaning bucket. We ask for this in Jesus' name. Father, look before you, Mike. We pray for healing for Elaine's son, Mike, in the name of Jesus. God, the doctors to see what's going on, but ultimately the healing comes from you. So we ask for you to move and work. It's in Jesus' name we pray. And thank you. We thank you, Father, for safety and travel, whether it's for Libby or if it's in for the Klingforth. We give you thanks, Father, for the protection and how you move and work and brought about by the arrival of these friends. Such joy and happiness. We give you thanks. But the rejoicing we have for them to be here is nothing in comparison to what it sounds like you have in heaven for us. That the angels rejoice and that you, Father, it sounds like you rejoice. What kind of love you have for us. We don't deserve it, but I need it. So we thank you, Father. We praise you as we pray, as Jesus taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Friends, the reading this morning comes from Romans chapter 1, as well as Luke chapter 15. Morning, Doug. Wherever you want to go. Oh, yeah, thanks, Doug. At least you're subtle about it. Travis, Lydia, I've got to confess that there are times I just forget about this prayer. We don't have it at the 11 o'clock service. Now I'm a bonehead, so I forget a lot. Doug was very subtle with that. Thanks, Doug. Friends, let's pray together. Lord, open our hearts and minds by the power of your Holy Spirit, that as the Scriptures are read and your word proclaimed, we may hear with joy what you say to us today. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. First reading this morning is from Romans chapter 1, verse 16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew, then to the Gentile. The next reading is from Luke chapter 15, verses 1 through 10. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of angels of God over one sinner who repents.
Friends, it's the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Amen. Doug, thank you. All right. Excitement at a loss. Not a loss, which if you're a Steelers fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A loss instead. Jesus tells stories of lost coins, lost sheep, and there's incredible excitement at a loss. The excitement that a lost has been found. That God reacts with excitement when a lost person has been found. When you accepted Jesus, God reacted with excitement. There's rejoicing in heaven. Some of you feel like you don't deserve it. For others of us, we're like, "Oh, I'm not surprised." Not arrogant, not this the denial or deprecation, but instead the incredible value that each of us has because we are created in the image of God, lost and then found. That there is excitement, rejoicing in heaven. Oh, to have that kind of heart. And when someone says yes to Jesus, we rejoice. So we let our guard down. We act like the kids with just a few coins in their hands, or one of our kids at 10. Don't know where all my money went. Either way, thanks be to God that there's such incredible excitement at a loss. But that excitement at a loss, well, is because that loss has been found. Speaking of things that have been lost, here's how the story goes. There's an old geezer who was a retired farmer, and for a long time he became very bored in retirement. So he decided he'd open up his own doctor's office. You go to Dr. Geezer's clinic and get your treatment for $500, and if you're not cured, I'll give you $1,000 back. Well, one of the doctors in town thought this would be a great idea, and so Dr. Young went to go see Dr. Old Geezer and thought he could get $1,000 quickly. So he walked in and said, "Dr. Geezer, I've lost all the taste in my mouth." Dr. Geezer said to the assistant in the office, "Go get box number 22. Poured out box number 22. Dr. Young drank and said, "Oh, that's alcohol, or that's gasoline." Dr. Geezer said, "Wow, you've been cured. That'll be $500. I'll get the taste back." Well, Dr. Young was very frustrated. A few weeks, Dr. Young went back and said, "Dr. Geezer, I'm having a lot of trouble. I've lost my memory." Dr. Geezer looked at the assistant and said, "Go get box number 22. Dr. Young yelled, "No, that's gasoline." Dr. Geezer's response, "You're right. You have your memory back. That'll be $500. Dr. Young is not happy at all. Out $1,000, angry and frustrated, thinking at best he can only get even. He goes back into the office one more time. Dr. Young walked in and said, "Dr. Geezer, my eyesight is so weak. I can't see anything." And Dr. Geezer looked at Dr. Young and said, "There's not much I can do for you, son." Went to his wallet and pulled out a $10 bill and said, "Here you go." And of course, Dr. Young said, $10? It's supposed to be $1,000. That's just a $10 bill. Dr. Geezer's response, "Your eyesight's cured. That'll be $500. He may have thought he lost his eyesight, may have thought he lost his taste, may have thought that he could somehow get away with pretending that he lost all these things. But we're talking about things that are truly lost, not playing games. For me, whenever I lose something, I often feel shame or try to cover it up or hide it. But that's a little difficult when my wife might say, hey honey, where's your cell phone? Or, honey, where are your car keys? Don't you have to leave soon? Don't mind, I'm just rummaging through the laundry for no good reason. I've got a bit of shame, I can admit it publicly here when I lose something. I want to be on the ball and in control all the time. And for those of you who know me well, I'm fooling myself, but we'll move on. Not so here. When we hear in Luke 15, with the excitement over a lost sheep and the excitement over the lost coins found, there is no shame. There's no cover-up. Lost sheep, gone, goes the shepherd. Remember, that's terrifying. This is somebody I don't think I'd want to hire. As we look as a church for someone to be our full-time church musician, and even though Patty's filled in admirably, we need to keep on praying for someone who will fill that role. We're not trying to get rid of Patty, no matter what some folks seem to think. Not at all. But her gifts are in leading folks in singing. She fills in for us on the piano. As we look for someone to play here long-term, that's not someone I'd look for to hire. They're going to leave one person by themselves, or leave 99 by themselves, one person on their own. For our kids on Monday nights, oh boy, that's dangerous. That's why you need a lot of adult help. You have one kid who decides to go missing, we're in trouble. Henceforth, we try to have a lot of leaders. For shepherds, 2,000 years ago, it was a solo job. You have 100 sheep, one disappears. Unlike me, who say, you left 99 by themselves and didn't call for help, you're gone, thanks for your time. Instead, the good shepherd would run after to find that one lost sheep. But I don't hear yelling or anger at the sheep. Instead, the shepherd picks up the sheep and puts it on his shoulders. Me, I'd be scolding at the very least. In that day and time, probably beatings would have occurred for some sheep. But this shepherd, more concerned about the one lost sheep, carries it in on his shoulders. It's exciting after he's left the sheep in the open field where lions and tigers and bears, oh my, could have come and taken the sheep away. Instead, he gets back and rejoices. I found my lost sheep. Not worried about his friends or her friends saying, you're that bad of a shepherd to lose a sheep? Instead, rejoicing. There's freedom. Or there's the lost coin where our kids and one pastor I'm thinking if anybody runs back up here after the service, they may even find more quarters up here. We'll move on. But instead, the reaction that the widow had when she found her lost coin is incredible. In that day and time, the coins that were spoken of here are drachmas. Drachmas were worth about a day's wage. The Pennsylvania average annual income is $56,000 a year. If you think about a 5-day work week at $56,000 a year, that works out to be $215 before taxes. So think about that. One coin worth $200. You lose that in your house, most of us might be ripping the place apart. For some of us, that's the value of our cell phones. For others of us, that's close to the value. $200 she's lost. But this is a widow. In that day and time, widows didn't have employment opportunities. There was no social security, nothing like that. No hope for finances. She has lost 10% of all that she had. So think about it for those of us in our retirement, you just suddenly lose 10% of all of your retirement income. That's what's gone. No wonder, to use some slang that's about 10 years old, she wakes out. What would we do? I don't know about you, but I'd probably try to hide it. She, as soon as she finds the coin, calls her neighbors, says, celebrate with me, I lost my lost coin. I would probably be along these lines. Don't keep this quiet. Don't let anybody else know how goofy I am. She celebrates. Because that's what they do in heaven. Not worry about what other people think. Celebrate. Rejoice because a loss has been found. The shepherd rejoices, the widow rejoices that there is rejoicing in heaven. God rejoices that a loss has been found. God rejoices when a loss has been found. A few years ago, I really shouldn't say a few years ago, it was about a year ago, I went down on Mondays to help my wife Tina watch Mason and Mia. Mia, our nephew's 4 years old. Mia is 2 years of age. Mason at this point had his cell phone. What a cell phone was a broken old remote for, I think, a DVD player that no longer was even functioning. Mason said to me at one point as we were playing in the basement, "Uncle Brian, hold my phone." So I put his phone, remember, remote, broken, in my pocket. A few hours later, I went home. Then we received this frantic phone call from, well, I shouldn't say a frantic phone call, but Keith, he and his brother called Keith and said, "Hey, do you guys have Mason's cell phone?" Guess what was still in my blue jeans pocket? Meanwhile, that house had been torn apart as they looked for Mason's cell phone. Next thing you know, he was crying and weeping and terrified, and then Keith relayed this information to my nephew, who normally almost cries when I go home. Keith told him, "Uncle Brian had your cell phone," and Mason's words were, "Don't trust Brian again." My thoughts were, "Hey, 4-year-old, don't let me hold your phone." Next time I was down there, Mia said, "Uncle Brian, hold this." Guess what happened? Yeah, next thing you know, I had her little toy at the house as well. So don't trust me with your toys, kids. But, that being said, Mason went chaotic because his toy was lost. For most of us, we have those things in our lives. Our cell phone, our car keys, maybe it's our wedding album. We have those things that if we lose them, our whole world stops. Can't go anywhere without the keys. Don't feel safe going anywhere without the phone. For me, my schedule, almost my whole life is in my cell phone right now. Everything stops. In heaven, there's incredible rejoicing when one person who's lost is found. But the thing is we don't get to make the judgments about who those people are. On Facebook, there was this meme, and it had a picture of a young man who had a nose piercing, I believe, and some other piercings, but what really caught my eye was the fact it looked like somebody had taken a newspaper with the ink that was coming off and just stuck it on his forehead, stuck it all over his face, that it was down to his chin. Maybe you saw that picture. It's a young man whose face was tattooed as though it was from the newspaper. And the caption underneath it was, "What would you do if he showed up at your door to take out your daughter?" Wow. Some of the things underneath that picture were painful to read through. And yet I bet we make those kind of judgments. We don't hear about how good that coin was, do we, in Luke 15? There's just celebration. We don't hear about what value or worth that one sheep was. There's just celebration. The excitement at a loss being found isn't based on how we look, whether it's tattoos or piercings or someone's past life. Instead, it's about the fact someone has said yes to Jesus Christ. You and I have this calling in our lives from Romans 1:16. I'm not ashamed of the gospel, as the Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Rome. I'm not ashamed of the gospel because it's the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. First for the Jew, then for the Gentile. The power of God for everyone who believes. That God will move and work in our lives when we say yes to Jesus Christ. There are a lot of lost folks out there, friends. Folks who don't go to church, say they're Christians, but you really can't see it in how they live their lives. A lot of folks, most likely we're saying, they're lost. They don't know Jesus. For some of us, we've got this response of, "I don't know the right words. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do." And yet, what did we talk about last week? From 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, puts it this way. Jesus said to the Apostle Paul, "My power is made perfect in..." Oh, sorry, I forgot that last word. I may not have been paying attention whenever I babbled last week. So what was that thing that says? Jesus said, "My power is made perfect in..." Oh, weakness. Because I guess whenever we're weak, that's when God is strongest. Tell someone, Greg Lowry puts it this way. God does not call the qualified, God qualifies the call. So you may not have all the right words, ditto. But guess what? God can work through you. So here's your excitement, holy cow, I hope it's exciting, but here's your assignment for this week, if you choose to accept it. Identify someone in your life who is lost, somebody who's not a Christian. Pray for them daily by name. And then, especially for those of you in a growth group, read chapter 2 and 3. It's cutting off the side there. That's right, it's 2 and 3, not just a semicolon or whatever that looks like. And tell someone. You'll find it pretty easy reading, as I think it's less than 15 pages. But especially if you're praying for someone who doesn't know Jesus yet. That's your assignment for this week. Because there's great excitement at a loss. Not the fact that there's a lost person, but the fact that whenever a loss is found, somebody who doesn't know Jesus Christ, there's celebration in heaven. They drop everything. Everything changes. If only we had that kind of excitement as well. Then we dropped everything. We celebrated better than, oh my goodness, I just found $100,000 in my portfolio I didn't know I had. As though we did celebrate something along the lines of, oh my goodness, I just want a new car and the price is right. Okay, that's maybe a stretch for most of us, but you get the point. We would celebrate stuff like that. This is about eternity, friends. There is incredible excitement in heaven about a lost one who's found. God just wants to use you. So let's pray. If you'd like to, the prayer will be on the screen behind me, but I encourage you to close your eyes and turn your hands toward heaven. Let's talk with God as we pray. Let's pray. Lord God, loving Father.
Lord God, loving Father.
I love you.
I love you.
I was lost and am now found.
I was lost and now found.
I have value because of you, Lord.
I have value because of you, Lord.
Show me the lost around me.
Show me the lost around me.
Give me the words to share.
Give me the words to share.
Give me the courage to share.
Give me the courage to share.
Give me the ear to share.
Give me the ear to share.
Give me the opportunity to share.
Give me the opportunity to share.
I pray in Jesus' name.
I pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Friends, continue to worship as we sing together. Let's stand as we sing. face shine upon you, be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and fill you with that kind of power that we hear about in Romans chapter 1. Let me do this right. For I'm not ashamed of the gospel, because it's the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. Power of God. May the power of God be with you. Amen and amen.
I don't. Outside the door. Okay.
Thank you. You guys are staying for the second? Yeah, we are. All right. But you don't have to stay for the whole second. Get out of here.
Are you ready to yank it?
Close are stuck for two. Wow. Well done.
Go.
Again, it's great to have you around.
Well, see, when I hear her, this is the thing. So we're so used to singing together.
Yes.
That when I hear her, I sing. Patty even says, "You sing louder."
Because I'm a big mouth. I sing loud.
I'm so used to hearing it,
Yeah.
and it's just.
I'll bet the chorus too, like she's got my back. I hear you. Yeah. Yes. That's awesome. Get down there. She ran. She's booked. How long you around, Kirby?
7 years, I never know.
How's that working? Do they just call you week to week? Or?
No, I do know, usually in August as well.
Right.
But I spent the summer.
Okay.
So in the beginning summer, I was
Was it too heavy?
now, my first There's too much to do and not enough time. I could have went over to the worked on the trailers all summer long.
Right.
Did everything but that.
Well, Disney's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the girls.
Right.
Can you see pictures?
You showed me pictures. Oh, I've heard. That, great to see you. Lydia, well done up there. Thank you. All right. Do we have video or not? Stink. Merle.
Howdy, howdy.
Nuts.